There are countries you visit, and then there are countries that stay with you. Scotland is not a place that reveals itself instantly. It doesn't overwhelm you with color or noise. Instead, it draws you in quietly, through mist-covered hills, endless skies, and a silence that feels ancient rather than empty. This is a land shaped by powerful forces. Ice carved its valleys, fire formed its mountains, wind and water never stopped shaping its shores. And through it all, people lived here, fought here, loved here, lost here, leaving behind stories written into stone and soil. Scotland is a place where history feels close, where legends feel believable, where nature feels larger than humanity, yet deeply connected to it. This is not a travel guide. This is a journey into memory, landscape, and spirit. These are the wonders of Scotland. Number 1. The Scottish Highlands. The Scottish Highlands stretch endlessly, wild and open, refusing to be tamed. Mountains rise slowly from wide valleys carved by glaciers thousands of years ago. The land feels old, not ruined, but experienced. Rivers move quietly through open moorland, reflecting skies that seem to go on forever. For centuries, this was a hard place to live. Clans depended on the land for survival, enduring harsh winters, isolation, and conflict. The Highlands witnessed loyalty and betrayal, strength and loss. Entire communities were displaced, leaving behind empty valleys and silent ruins. Even today, there is a sense of distance here, not just physical, but emotional. The modern world feels far away. The land demands patience, respect, and attention. Standing in the Highlands, you don't feel entertained. You feel grounded, small, connected to something much older than yourself. Fact: Scotland has over 30,000 freshwater lochs, making it one of the most water-rich countries in Europe. Many of these lochs were formed during the last ice age, carved directly into the land by massive glaciers that shaped much of Scotland's dramatic landscape. Number 2. Isle of Skye. The Isle of Skye feels alive. Its mountains rise sharply from the land, jagged and dramatic, as if shaped by a restless earth. Waterfalls spill down the steep cliffs. Coastlines twist and break under the force of the sea. Skye changes constantly. Mist rolls in without warning, transforming the landscape into something mysterious and unfamiliar. Light breaks through clouds suddenly, revealing colors and shapes that feel almost unreal. For generations, people told stories of giants, spirits, and hidden worlds here. And when you walk across Skye's rugged terrain, it's easy to understand why. This island does not feel ordinary. It feels like a place where the natural and the mythical exist side by side. Skye is not gentle, but it is unforgettable. Number 3. Loch Ness. Loch Ness stretches quietly through the highlands, long and narrow, its dark waters absorbing light. It is one of the deepest lochs in Scotland, and that depth has always captured human imagination. Legends of something unseen beneath the surface turned this quiet place into one of the world's most famous mysteries. But beyond the stories, Loch Ness feels ancient and watchful. The surrounding hills rise gently, and ruins like Urquhart Castle sit along its shores, reminding us that people lived and fought here long before the legend ever existed. There is a calm here, not peaceful, but contemplative. Loch Ness invites reflection. It reminds us that not everything needs to be explained to be meaningful. Number 4. Edinburgh. Edinburgh feels like a city built on memory. Its old town rises steeply, narrow streets climbing toward the castle, lined with buildings that have witnessed centuries of life. Plague, poverty, power, and politics all shape these streets. The new town tells a different story, one of order, ambition, and progress. Wide avenues and elegant architecture reflect a moment when Scotland looked forward as much as it looked back. Above it all stands Edinburgh Castle, watching silently. From here, kings ruled, prisoners waited, and nations changed direction. Edinburgh is a city of thinkers and storytellers. Writers, philosophers, and revolutionaries found inspiration here. It is a place where ideas mattered, and still do. Number 5. Glencoe. Glencoe is one of Scotland's most powerful landscapes. Mountains rise steeply on all sides, their slopes cut by waterfalls and deep shadows. Clouds often sit low, giving the valley a heavy, quiet atmosphere. But Glencoe is remembered not only for its beauty. It is marked by betrayal and loss, a massacre that left a permanent scar on Scottish history. Perhaps that is why Glencoe feels so emotional. The land seems to remember what happened here. Beauty and sorrow exist together, inseparable. This is not a place you simply admire. It is a place you feel. Number 6. Stirling Castle. Stirling Castle is not just one of Scotland's grandest fortresses, it is one of its most important symbols. Rising high above the surrounding plains, the castle occupies a position of absolute power. For centuries, this was the key to Scotland itself. Whoever controlled Stirling controlled the movement between the Highlands and the Lowlands, between North and South, between freedom and conquest. Within these stone walls, kings and queens were crowned, alliances were formed, and wars were planned. Mary, Queen of Scots, spent part of her childhood here. Decisions made in these chambers altered the course of Scottish history forever. And outside the castle, battles were fought that would define national identity. Even today, the land around Stirling feels charged, as if it remembers the clash of armies and the weight of impossible choices. Standing at Stirling Castle, you are not simply looking at history, you are standing at a moment where Scotland chose who it would become. Number 7. The Outer Hebrides. The Outer Hebrides feel like the end of the world and the beginning of something older. These islands sit far from the mainland, exposed to the full force of the Atlantic Ocean. Winds shape the land, storms arrive without warning, and yet, life has endured here for thousands of years. White sand beaches stretch endlessly, glowing against turquoise waters that seem impossibly bright under rare sunlight. Ancient stone circles stand quietly in open fields, built by people whose names are long forgotten, but whose presence still lingers. Life in the Outer Hebrides has always required resilience. Communities depended on fishing, farming, and each other. Traditions survived because they had to. Even today, the islands move at a different rhythm, slower, quieter, more deliberate. Here, time feels less urgent. The modern world feels distant. And in that distance, something deeply human remains. Number 8. Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis does not invite admiration, it demands respect. As the highest mountain in Britain, it rises above the highlands like a silent challenge. Often hidden beneath thick cloud, its summit is rarely visible, reminding visitors that nature decides what is revealed. Weather on Ben Nevis can change in moments. Calm skies can turn violent. Many who underestimate the mountain quickly learn that height is not its only danger. Unpredictability is. For centuries, Ben Nevis has stood as a test of endurance. Climbers do not conquer it. They negotiate with it. Every step upward is earned. Looking up at Ben Nevis, you understand Scotland's wildness, not dramatic for show, but real, powerful, and entirely indifferent to human ambition. Number 9. The Fairy Pools. The fairy pools are not grand in scale, and that is exactly what makes them extraordinary. Hidden beneath the Black Quillen Mountains on the Isle of Skye, clear water flows gently over smooth stone, forming pools of vivid blue and green. Light dances across the surface, changing constantly with the sky above. Waterfalls connect the peals, their soft sound filling the air with a calm that feels almost unreal. The place feels fragile, untouched, as if it exists in a space between reality and imagination. The name feels natural, not forced. There is something quietly magical here, something that slows you down without asking. The fairy pools remind us that wonder does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Number 10. St. Kilda. St. Kilda lies far beyond the mainland, isolated in the open Atlantic, shaped by wind, sea, and solitude. For centuries, a small community lived here at the edge of survival. Life was harsh, supplies were limited, storms were relentless. Eventually, the cost of staying became too great, and the islands were abandoned. Stone houses still stand, empty and weathered, slowly being reclaimed by nature. The cliffs surrounding the islands rise straight from the ocean, among the highest in Europe. Seabirds dominate the skies, filling the air with movement and sound. St. Kilda feels haunting, not because it is empty, but because it remembers. It tells a story of resilience, sacrifice, and the moment when humanity chose to step away. Here, nature reclaimed its space, and in doing so, it reminds us how small we truly are. Scotland does not rush you, it stays quiet, it waits, and slowly it becomes part of you. It stays in the silence of mist-covered hills, in the echo of wind across empty valleys, in the feeling that some landscapes are not just seen, but understood. This land teaches us something rare. It reminds us that beauty can be quiet, that history can live in stone and shadow, that nature does not need to be perfect to be powerful. Scotland's wonders are not only castles, mountains, or distant islands. They are emotions, stories, moments of stillness where the world feels slower and more honest. And long after the journey ends, those moments remain. But as one story closes, another begins. Far from the cool mists and ancient fortresses of Scotland lies a land shaped by an entirely different rhythm. A land where human history stretches back to the very beginnings of civilization, where dramatic highlands rise above vast valleys, where rock-hewn churches hide beneath the earth, and where ancient traditions continue unbroken through time. In our next journey, we leave behind the rugged silence of Scotland and travel to the cradle of humanity, a place of deep history, powerful landscapes, and stories older than memory itself. Next time, Wonders of Ethiopia.